Screen is not visible. On the right side of the
this. Okay. Yeah. So any other question? Any other problem? We can discuss all these problems together in some later in some later session. Any other questions, guys?
I will ask you separately, Praveen. I am having some of the functions doubt in Glide. That's all.
No. Okay. No, you can ask here right now, because it will clear others as well. If we can do it right now, it will clear others as well. What are the doubts?
So basically, I was using a function string agg, means aggregate. There it was asking for two fields. That is, the first one is string agg, comma string name. So I try to give the values in inverted commas also and without inverted commas also, like string agg, comma and inverted commas column name. But it was not working. Is there anything extra needed to implement this?
Where were you doing it? In Glide code.
Right.
1 minute. For example, I applied a glide record. And I am applying it, for example, on incident table. Right now,
So the function was to get the aggregate of the field whichever are present in a particular table.
This is the function of glide aggregate.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what happened now? Whenever you are doing get aggregate, yeah, guys, today again we will not cover it because from since morning I don't get any time. Right. So get aggregate, what happened? You can have two functions as well, two means parameters as well for this function. One is, for example, your aggregate, right? Another one would be the name of the column on which you applied it, right? The name of the column on which basically you applied it. So what syntax you have used during the add aggregate, similar syntax you will use during the get aggregate. Okay, so you have to look at what syntax you use during the add aggregate. Similar thing you will use the get aggregate. Still there were some problems.
No, now I got it. What mistake I was doing. I was basically I was not writing count. I was writing agg. I thought that this is the syntax. First of all, I have to write agg and then we have to take the particular column.
Correct. So these aggregates are fixed, right? Count, mean, max, average. So these are fixed. We can't, guys, we can't create our new aggregates from here, right? So these are the fixed aggregates which depends upon the database type, what kind of RDBMS we are using, right? It depends upon that. So be cautious here, and a part of it, what column name you have given here, right? So similar column name you will use during the add aggregate. Well, though we will cover aggregate, I am writing it in the later class. I think on Monday we need to have a problem session. So glide aggregate. Right. Yeah. Any other question? No questions, guys?
Praveen, I have shared one code in the chat section. Can you please check it? It was not working. It's a query of glide aggregate only, but it was not working.
So do you know that what this not null query doing?
I have shared in the chat section. Can you check that code?
So I am seeing it on the chat.
Yeah.
So what this add not null query doing here?
Yeah, I was actually counting the short description where that nulls is not required. Means in the short description, if null is not there, those field incidents I was counting and I was printing those incidents. That thing I was doing. So I was applying that count.add not null query. I took this query from the docs only.
So you know that what problem you have did here. For example, you have put count, variable count. So count is your glide aggregate object, correct?
Yeah.
So variable count equals to new glide aggregate. You have passed a table name. That is okay. That is correct. Now you have did count.add not null query. That is also fine. Now you have did count.query. That is also good. Okay, no problem here. Now variable incidents equals to 0.
Yeah.
You can just, if you want to keep here, you can just here in this way. Just you will not initialize it, right? Now what you are doing count dot next. So count is your glide aggregate object and it will return your result set, right? And that you can get using the get value, not the get aggregate. Why not the get aggregate? Because you have not attached any aggregate when you are querying.
Okay, I need to attach that get aggregate. Add aggregate, then only I can apply get aggregate, right?
Then only you can apply the get aggregate.
So simply here I can apply get value.
Yeah, because understand it. You have executed the function.
Yeah.
Then you are asking the database to do this aggregation. Before going to the database, you have to ask the database to do this aggregation. Getting it? Because right. Okay. So we were on the introduction to server-side scripting, guys. Again, I am telling you, we are not covering glide aggregate again today. I will give you a clear understanding, clean understanding of glide aggregate. But yes, again in the Monday class, I hope so, because did not get time from yesterday. Now we will continue with our previous stuff. So we were on the business rule, right? I think everyone now have a fair idea that what is a business rule. Or someone have any doubt? Does someone have any doubts?
No point.
Okay. I am again coming over the business rule record. So yesterday we saw that how we can create a business rule. You have to means give a name, correct means a meaningful name to the business rule, so that you can identify it later as well. You have to select a table on which table this business rule will work, right? For example, I am selecting my example table which I just created. I am giving it user table. Right. So now we know what is name in this business rule, what is table in this business rule, on which table this business rule will work. Application we will cover later when we will create some another application scope. Active, you know, using the advanced you can see that we will see all these options, otherwise these options will never come. So here when you will come in the van, you can see before, after, async and display business rule. Yesterday we talked about before and after. Before means before hitting to the database your script will run. After means after hitting to the database your script will run. Now before can run in 4 scenarios: before insert, before update, before delete, and before query, right? After can also work after insert, after update, after delete, and after query on the table, correct? I think you guys don't have any doubts till here. Up to this point you don't have any doubts, I think so. Does someone have any doubts?
How after query will work? This is what type of query?
Okay. So query will work in the way, for example, whenever you are hitting to a database, right? Then what we do, we basically run some queries on the database, right? So whenever we are going to query some database, for example, to read the database data, or to display it on the form, or we are going to display it on a list. In that case, we run some query. So before querying to the database, you want that the result of that query should be filtered by your own query. For example, person A is querying the database, right? So person A is, for example, not an admin user, that is a non-admin user, but you are admin user, and you have fixed some query that only means whatever kind of query you are that non-admin person is hitting, but always the data will be visible only as per your query. So what you will do, you will select the query here, and in the advance you will pass a query, current dot query. For example, I pass active equals to true. So whoever is the person there, whatever kind of query he is hitting, he will be able to see only those records which are having active true. They will not be able to see anytime anyhow all the records which are active false, right? So this is the use of query business rule. Means your query always run, whatever the query they are doing or they are giving you, but your query will always run, and after that only they will receive the result. Getting it?
So basically running the query means whatever we are passing through condition builder, right? Where we were selecting 3 values, operator,
Yes,
field,
yes.
and value. That query.
You can include you can include that filter as well. A part of it, for example, someone have write some script, okay, in the scripting as well, on the list layout as well. Everywhere this query business will work in every scenario.
Okay.
Some question from someone? Yeah, my audience is so silent now. I am not getting that. Either there is problem with my training, right guys, or there is a problem, then otherwise there is a problem with you guys.
So there is no problem with her as well, and not with your mic as well. Her training is good.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so go on. We will now move forward. So again I will explain this thing. So that's why I always try to explain the things again and again. So business rule is a way how we can handle what I'm saying, how we can handle that before hitting to the database. If you want to modify our data, or after we have hit the database, after that we have hit the database, now after that we want to perform something, like we want to send an email to some person, we want to send an SMS to some person, we want to fire an event to some person. That kind of scenarios are handled by the after business rule. Now a part of before and after, we are having two different type of business rule as well, async and display. So guys, whatever kind of thing you are doing is called synchronous, right? I think you guys know the difference between the synchronous and asynchronous. What happened in the synchronous, we want result as soon as possible. Whatever kind of script we are running, that script will run right now, it will result us right now. ServiceNow provide you a other way of a business rule, that is called async business rule. In the async business rule, we are not expecting the result right now. What will happen? So for example, if I am creating a sync business rule, consider a Facebook example. For example, you have like a video, and the video notification will be sent to all your friends that this user or this person have liked this video. Now we are not restricting the system to send the notification as soon as right now. We will allow the system that you can have, means you can create a queue. In that queue you can put our this incident, or you can put this event, or whenever you are free or whenever you will get time, then at that time you can send the notification to all my friends. Correct? So in such scenario where we don't want our result right now, where we don't want the user to wait for the result, and user is not anywhere is concerned that what is the result right now, in that scenario we will use async business tool. So whatever script we will write in async business tool, that will run in async mode, and it is not guaranteed that when this script will run, right before, after, display, all these script will run right now. But if you have selected the async option, you can't guarantee when this script will run, right? So this will start a thread, and you can't you can't predict when this thread will be executed by the system. This is the main theme behind the async business rule.
Praveen,
Yes.
when we will use this async business rule?
When we will use it, you're asking?
Yes.
So I gave you an example of Facebook. For example, you have liked a video, right, and notifying to other users. Is it a concern for you that you want to notify to other users? I don't
No,
think that.
I'm saying in here that we first we get the result now. Then, so what is the use here?
Okay, so the use is, yep, I'm telling you the use itself. For example, consider you are not on the Facebook, you are on means you are not on the service now, you are on the Facebook. You have liked a video. What will happen? As soon as you like the video, you fire a sync business tool. Means you want to run a script which will tell all your friends, notify all of your friends that this person have liked this particular video. Right now you have liked the video, but you are not waiting but you will never wait for the acknowledgement. What kind of acknowledgement? That all of your friends have received this notification or not. Do you wait?
Okay,
No, na?
okay, understood.
Right? So such kind of thing we will run in the async business rule. You got it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Any doubts from someone? I am very clear.
Yeah, Praveen, Shahbaz this side. Hello.
Yes.
Actually, I have one doubt that what is the purpose of hitting the DB after or before?
Okay. Okay. So what is the purpose of hitting the database before and after? Let me just tell me one thing. For example, whenever you are submitting a form, let's take a simple example of a form. You have created a form, and in that form you have given an age field, right? And in that age you are expecting that some person will write his or her age, for example 25, 30, 40, 45, 60, right? Correct. In this way age will come in your database. Correct. Now tell me, do you think that always your end user will work perfectly, or will not try to put any alphabeticals A, B, C, D, E, F, G there in the age section? He can put, right? You getting me what I am saying? Right? What will happen in that scenario? Your database will show age A, B, C, D. Is this a valid age?
No, no.
No. For that purpose, what will you do? You will write some validation. What kind of validation you will put? You will put validation in JavaScript. But somehow some users are very smart, or some hacker was there, and what he is trying to hit your database with the ages A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you have not put anything before insert on your database. What will happen? You will have some wrong values in your database. So the best example for your understanding is validation at the server side. You getting my point?
Okay.
So the simplest example is this, though there are a lot of bigger scenarios, right? But I always use very simple examples. There are a lot of bigger issues, bigger things I can tell you about this business tool before and after, but that was the simplest thing we can understand. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Someone else? Any questions from someone? Oh, we are good, guys. Okay. So I have explained you what is before, what is after, what is async. Now I am explaining you what is display. So whenever we are, what I am doing, guys, for example, I am opening this record and I just do refresh, right? So whenever I am refreshing this window, whatever script I have written in this display business tool will work. For example, so display business tool, what do display business tool basically, whenever you are whenever you want some data from server side, at the time of loading of your this page, that data is passed from display business tool to this record. How it is passed, I will show you. You see, hello is coming. Again hello is coming. Again hello is coming. Whenever I am displaying this record, this business tool will work. Right now you guys will find out where is the best scenario of this business tool. I will not tell you, and I think I am not expecting your answer right now. I can expect your answer by the next week. For example, now there is one more thing which is called Scratchpad in ServiceNow. So I am telling you that what we do whenever we are displaying some record, some data is passed from display business tool to this form, and how that data is passed. We will use here Scratchpad. There is a object, global object in ServiceNow, which is called Scratchpad. Dot, for example, my data. Now you guys have to use client script here. So client script will read your data from this display business tool. How it will read? Now I will cover client script as well. Got it? Right, guys? You saw? And on client side, I have this data, what I sent from server. Okay, everyone understood this? Oh, any doubts? So this is the way we can display business tool. So guys, your business tool are done. You please do practice by yourself. Any question, any doubts? Any problems, anything, you can come to me. We can discuss it later. I am moving towards the client script now. Your client aggregate is remaining. I remember. We will cover it hope so on Monday. Now, guys, 1 minute. Yes, guys. So, type of client script. So, type of client script you can see here are on
Praveen.
on some change. Yes.
So for displaying any business rule, means using display business rule, every time we have to first enter the data in the server side, and then we have to take it back from the server side by using client script. For only display, or in every business rule we have to follow the same, or is there any particular criteria?
Only in display. Only in display.
Okay.
Pranshu Gupta, why you want control? So type on select, on change, on load, and on submit. So guys, we saw just on load. So first of all, on the type will come later. First of all, understand that what is client script in service now. So whatever UI part we want to handle, we can handle that UI part using the client script in service now. First of all, all these names are self-explanatory. On load, at the time of loading of the page. On submit, when I will click on the submit button. On change, if I am changing something on my column, right? So these are the simple meanings. Now, important thing is that we are having a G_form object in service now. Most powerful object for the client part. For example, if I want to, what kind of power this G_form gives us? I want to make my column read only. I want to make my column editable. I want to make my column mandatory. I want to hide my column, right? Or I want to add a style in my column, right? All such kind of special things we can do using the G_form object. For example, I want to make this column a read only, guys. Read only. In that case, we have many methods basically. Yeah, so not yet. So set it only. I use set it only function. U_name and true I passed here. I am saving it. Let's see what will happen. Missing function declaration for on change. Oh my god. Right, now what will happen, we will refresh it, we will reload it. Okay, still it is not read only. Let me check. Oh, its name is different.
Yeah, its name is different. Column. G_column.
Well, let's try. Yes. So you see, we have made this field read only. Now I will make it mandatory. We have set mandatory. Save it. Again, let's see what will happen. Become mandatory. I will remove. Right. I will not be able to save it. Correct. It becomes mandatory. For example, I want to hide this business rule. Right. So this means that column is not here now because we have made it set visible false. Correct. So these are various methods in GFOAM. Let's see them. Add decoration, add error message, add info message, add option, clear message, clear option, clear value, disable attachment, enable attachment, get action name, get control. So I am saying that every method will not be understood for you, but yes, the methods on which you can work is, for example, using the set label, you can change the label. For example, okay, that is visible. So the column we are having here having a name as column name A. For example, on the on load, I want to make it to column name A to the my field. So the label you can change using the set label method. Read only you can use, mandatory you can use, set label of you can use, disabled you can use, set display you can try, right? Remove option, from the choice, if you want to remove a particular option from the choice list, you can use remove option. Try this as well, right? Is the new record. For example, if this record is new record, this is the saved record. My new record will be when I will come using the new, and you want to identify is this record is new record or not. So is new record will help you here, because many things we want to do only on the new records, not on the old records, right? And a part of it you can use flash, right? Use flash as well. You can use add info message, you can use add error message. To add choices you can use add option, right? You can use add error box, there will be a method, right? Add decoration you can use. So all these methods you can try by yourself. Clear options you can use, clear value you can use, guys. All these you can skip get control. I agreed that you may face some problem in the get control. I will let you know there those methods later. Get element you can skip, but yes, all the other methods you can use, guys. You can read them and you will get a clear idea from the docs itself. Now there is another object, G underscore user, right? And G underscore user give you a limited functionality about the logged in user. For example, first name of the logged in user, full name of the logged in user, last name of the logged in user, user ID of the logged in user, complete username of the logged in user, to check that is this logged in user have any role, right? If have any role, it will return it true or false. Has role from list, you will provide a list, and from that list you will check is this logged in user having any role or not. Has role exactly, and has role. Has role will tell you that means has role will work on a single role. Has roles will work on multiple roles. Has role exactly will work on the roles which are not inherited. So means there is an inherited box of the roles as well. Sometimes we inherit the roles, right? In that case, what will happen? For example, you have a role A and role B, and in the role B you have inherited the role A, right? So if there is any inheritance in the roles, has role will behave differently. Has role exactly will behave differently. So guys, first practice by yourself. Any doubts, anything, I will clear it. But first try by yourself. A part of it, we are having we have seen two global objects on the client side, G underscore form and G underscore user. So these two objects you can use for now. There is one or two, three more objects are there. We will talk about them later, right? So we have even three. G underscore scratchpad we have seen, G underscore form we saw today, and G underscore user we saw today. Right, guys? So this is the client script about the client script. On cell edit you can skip for now, right? On cell edit we will work later, but on load, on submit, on change, you can try by yourself. Okay guys.
So Praveen, basically G underscore scratchpad is used to display particular data from the server side, right?
Yes, what data is coming, that data will come inside the G underscore scratchpad.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Hi
Praveen,
Praveen,
I have a situation
this is
that if we have to make using client script, we have to highlight caller field if user is VIP, some kind of. I was going through the basics, so I got from there. So at the time we have to use G underscore user object, right? Global object.
No. If you want to if you want to basically what you want to do, you want to highlight some field on the form, right? Is this you want?
Highlight caller field if user is VIP.
Correct. So using G underscore user, you will get who is the current logged in user, right? And after
Using
getting
set
it,
value.
yes, means you can check if this logged in user is VIP or not, right? And then you will use G underscore form like flash method, right? Like decoration method, right? To just a little bit give the color method to give it means the color column to show the color column splashing or flashing, right? So you use G underscore user as well as G underscore form object, both the objects. From one G underscore user you will get user is VIP or not, and from the though you can't do, but I am telling you the very समृद्धि आप बाहर जाओगे बाबू प्लीज, जाओ उसका गेट को बंद कर दो, आप डिस्टर्ब मत करा करो मुझे, जाओ. Yes, so using the G underscore user, you can take the current ID or current user ID of the user, but you can't identify that user is VIP or not. I think you can correct yourself what I am saying. Can you correct, or should I explain it more?
Yeah, little bit I am getting that by using user I can see whether the user is VIP or not.
But you can't know that the user is VIP or not, right?
Okay.
Yes. For that purpose you have to run some another scripts, right? But yes, other part of it you can use gform method to add decoration or to flash some particular field that way. Any other question from someone?
yeah, this is Ajay here. Praveen. At the starting, you said types of client script.
Yeah, correct.
So there are different types of client script, right?
Correct. These are here: on change, on load, on submit.
Okay. Got it.
Any other question?
What is inherited part in this?
Okay. So for example, whenever you are using inheritance, right? And during the inheritance, you want your client script to be inherited in the child table. In that case, you will use inherited.
Means if suppose this table is extending two more tables, means two tables are extending these tables. So whatever the script we are going to use here, it will reflect on those tables also if we have clicked the inherited checkbox, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So I think if you don't have now any doubts, we can close this call. And though we can cover more things, but I think it will be hectic for you guys.
Praveen, if you could just share the document for client script or business script, if you have particular documents or a product documentation is enough.
Okay, I will send the link over the chat later in the group. Okay.
Thank you. For business and client script.
Okay. Okay, guys. So I think now you don't have anyone have no doubts, guys. So you can go and read it. You should. Yes.
And Praveen, what about the assignment you were saying?
Okay. So I will share. I mean, basically, it was my strategy to not to give you assignments because I wanted that you can read as much as possible by yourself first, and then when you will become little comfortable, then I will give you the assignments. So today I will give you assignments in some time, maybe in 1 hour or 2 hours, depending upon the time availability. Right. So I will give you guys assignments. Those assignments would be very little. For example, creating a table, creating a column. Right. Means using some little client scripts, using little server script. Right. Such kind of assignment those will be. So you can spend your today, or if you will get time, today or tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, you can spend and you can work with them, right? So, and Monday, your buddies, by the Monday EOD, end of the day, your buddies will, you can submit your assignments to your buddies, they will check it, they will let you know any problems or means how much marks you basically receive from those assignments. Okay, so today I will give you guys assignment, you please complete them.
Excuse me, Praveen, Rutuja here. I was just studying that reference qualifier. There I was trying to create a dynamic reference qualifier. While creating that, I came to know a business rule in that also. Whether that business rule is same like this business rule or that is different.
Okay, so you're saying that when you try to create a dynamic qualifier, in that case, you saw that there is a particular field there in which you can select a business, right?
Yeah, actually there were two methods of creating dynamic qualifier. Now, one is script included, and another one is this business rule. Means I have read like this. I don't know whether that business rule is same with this or not. That is what I am asking you.
Okay, so what happened whenever we create some dynamic, basically it is also called dynamic filter, right? So what happened when we create any dynamic qualifier, so there we can write our own script, but that script should be a single line of a script, right? But if you think that script is not a single line of a script, in that case you can use a script include or a business rule, right? So basically in the business rule again we write the script, right? In the business again we write the script. So that filter will have its true or false value or any returned value from the business rule script.
Okay.
So that way, so for example, whenever you are using a reference qualifier, then that reference qualifier will run the business rule script first. It will calculate what data I should show to
Yes.
Then only your reference qualifier will allow you to show you specific data. It will show you, right? Basically, it is connected to each other. Got it?
Okay. Okay, got it.
Similarly, you can use script include, but script include part will come on it later.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I am writing. I will try to show you some live example of as well of that. So I am writing it. Dynamic qualifier.
Then which one is preferable in our real-time projects? Whether we are preferring dynamic or business?
Mostly what happen now, if we are having so basically dynamic qualifiers are not just created only for reference qualifiers. Dynamic qualifiers are created especially whenever you want to use a qualifier or a filter at various places. Means, for example, in the reference and at the list layout also. Qualifier or dynamic filter. If you are using it only for the purpose of reference qualifier, you will use that reference qualifier. In the advanced qualifier, you will connect to scripting correctly. Okay, so that is more standard way. Okay, guys. So I think we are done with the questions. Or any other question someone want to ask? If someone have any doubt in his mind or something?
No, Praveen.
No, done for the day. After executing the
No,
experiment and
Praveen.
everything, we'll get the doubts.
Okay. So thanks, guys. Thanks. So we will now meet on Monday, right? And by that time, I think you can go through all the topics, and you can be ready with the questions. I think because from Monday I will be little more free. We can spend more time, and I can address your more questions from Monday. Okay. So thanks, guys. Bye bye. Have a good
Bye bye.
weekend.
Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
ऋतुजा,
हेलो।
हाँ, जो आप वो कर रहे थे ना डिक्शनरी एट्रीब्यूट,
हाँ हाँ
वो आपको समझ में आ गया होगा कि आप खुद से क्रिएट करने के लिए यूआई मैक्रोज यूज करना पड़ता है बेसिकली, जो प्रवीण
हम
कह
खुद से
रहे
कर,
थे।
लेकिन हम खुद से क्रिएट नहीं कर सकते वो बोले ना प्रवीण। तो
नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके लिए आपको जेली का एक लैंग्वेज आता है, वो करना होता है यूआई मैक्रोज एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे सर्विस इन जो अवेलेबल एट्रीब्यूट्स है वो आप यूज कर सकते हो। जैसे अगर आपको खुद इंस्टेंट देखना है कि कोई एट्रीब्यूट आपने अप्लाई किया और दिखना चाहिए, तो आप क्या कीजिए, स्ट्रिंग टाइप की फील्ड में एट्रीब्यूट में जाके नॉलेज सर्च वाला कीजिए, ठीक है। तो जैसे अगर उस एट्रीब्यूट को नॉलेज बेस्ड सर्च करके अगर आप उसको ट्रू करेंगे और जिस फील्ड पे आपने लगाया है उसके साइड में आप देखना एक बुक जैसे खुल के आ जाएगी। तो बेसिकली क्या होता है कि जो भी आप उस फील्ड में कुछ भी टाइप करोगे ना, तो उससे रिलेटेड आपको नॉलेज सर्च में वो कंटेंट मिल जाएगा।
सजेशन में। ओके,
सजेशन में, राइट।
हाँ हाँ ठीक है ठीक है।
अगर आप देखो,
मुझे एक्चुअली यही चाहिए था कि एट्रीब्यूट वर्क कैसे होता है।
हाँ, कुछ कुछ
Okay,
एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं जो एकदम दिख जाते हैं फील्ड लेवल पे, और कुछ कुछ ऐसे होते हैं जो बैकएंड में चलते हैं, तो वो देखना